Hello everyone. Surprise! I decided to do another YouTube video while I'm waiting for my husband. My name is Candace Krog Goldman. It is the 27th of November 2019 and we're coming up on Thanksgiving here in America. Hey Scylla, hi sweetheart. So actually, I'm glad you are on this video right now. I'm going to talk a little bit about the energy, things that are happening around us, things that are happening in my own life, the things that I'm seeing, both in the physical and the 3D. Hi, David from Scotland. Hi, Darla. Thank you all for joining me this impromptu kind of thinking. I was driving my husband to an appointment again and thinking about all the things that happened recently, including dreams that I had last night. And I wanted to talk a little bit about what I'm noticing kind of, in the quantum field around me. Hi, Katie. So the first thing that I've noticed this whole week is when I've been outside on our farm here in rural Kansas, I have seen an extraordinary number of birds. Many hawks, which is typical, especially this time of year. Lots of crows. They're very, very smart. Lots of crow energy. Many cardinals always, especially at sunrise and sunset. But the bird that has been around our farm, hands down, number one in the biggest way, has been the robin. Now, robins are typically active, very active and present in the early spring, and it is anything but early spring here in Kansas. Yes, Scylla, robins, and our robin is different than the one you have in the UK. It's a different kind of bird. It's a larger bird. It's a different species, but it is called a robin, and it does have a red breast. And I've just been stunned at the amount of robins, how noisy they've been, how present they've been. And the other day, I decided to take my young forest pony Harris for a walk. I didn't ride him. And sometimes, for those of you out there who are not horse people, sometimes walking a horse just by halter on a journey is as beneficial to them in training, as beneficial to me in my own body as riding, and sometimes different things. Well, anyway, I was walking him. I decided to take him for a long walk into the woods and not ride him. And I had a lot of time where I stopped and allowed him to eat some green grass on the halter, and I could just stop and watch and pay attention to what was going on with the birds. And the robin energy was so strong, and a lot of the robins seemed to be following us, which I thought was just fascinating. Big flocks of them would come into the trees. And when I got back from this walk, and I've noticed it when I was walking yet another one of our horses, Lunabelle, going in a different direction, the flocks of robins followed. And I looked up the energetic symbolism of a robin, and it's exactly what you might expect. It's a harbinger of spring and new things. Well, it's not spring, for sure. But, the message of this kind of flock, this overwhelming presence of new energies and new beginnings are really, really surrounding us. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit. I often find that the animals around me, both my companion animals and the wild animals, bring messages and understanding right now. Scylla says, I have a lot of energy around me right now. I do, and I have had a lot of energy around me since the goddess retreat gathering that we all had in the Ozarks in Missouri with Pamela Erlin and Scylla and Hara and Allison Brown and so many other BQH practitioners and QHHT practitioners, and just a lot of wonderful women got together, and a lot of things happened there. We're still working on bringing you some of what happened here using video on YouTube. I'm still working on that. I have a lot of energy. A lot of my own energy has changed since that BQH session, that tandem session I had with Pamela Arlen, facilitated by Donna McMurtry and Diana Adair. About swapped their last names. They're beautiful sisters, beautiful BQH practitioner sisters. There was a lot of Dolores Cannon energy present during that event, and things have changed for a number of us since that day. So that is definitely still changing. But one of the things I wanted to talk about specifically today was the connection to our aspects. So what am I talking about? Well, aspects can be any number of things. They can be past lives. They can be spirit guides. They can be guardian angels. They can be totem animals. They can be a lot of different things. Primarily these days, when we talk about aspects, we talk about maybe other lives that are being lived even concurrently right now in other places, at other, in other realms. In a larger perspective, of course, we know there is no time and everything happens at once and everything's already happened, and only variations of that are from our own perspective. But one way of looking at this is, past lives, us being able to access past lives and future life aspects of us, also parallel aspects of us. This is happening more and more in people's dreams and in sessions, more and more. And the thing that I'm finding interesting as we are able to communicate, contact, and interact with these aspects, we can, I'm sorry, this piece of hair is bothering me. There we go. Let's get it out of the way. We're able to learn from them and combine with them. We're able to communicate with them. There's different things going on with our aspects. And I think, once again, this is a way that we can consider ourselves as multidimensional, right? This is what being a multidimensional human means. This is what evolution and expansion means. It means that we can begin to interact with these aspects consciously, unconsciously, subconsciously, in sessions and not, in dreams, etc. When before it wasn't quite as easy. There was more separation between ourselves and these other aspects. So I think that really started happening around Halloween and the fall, thinning of the veils, of course, right? But it's continuing to happen, and I believe we're going to be carrying a lot of this energy into the very important year of 2020. Okay, so what's happening? Well, a lot of people are thinking still talking about this timeline collapse, right? This idea that there's the timeline collapse. And if you haven't done any personal research on the thing called Project Looking Glass, look that up. Look that up and see what's being said out there about Project Looking Glass in a very, very short way of describing that. It's this idea that remote viewers and other people were able to look into the future in years past, and something kind of happens in this time that we're in right now, post 2012, coming up into the time where we're living right now, where the timelines are collapsing. There's less variation. It's a very interesting theory, concept, and idea. A lot of different people have a lot of different ideas about what's going on and why. It's something to look at. And what I'm finding is my own personal dream life is participating in this. And so what am I talking about? Well, even last night, and I haven't brought this up too much to very many people, and I haven't made it very public, but there has been, both in sessions but in my dream life too, I'm having dreams about what's going on in this in actually the political realm of what's going on in America. And it's such a hot button topic, and people are so divided and so passionate and so angry in some cases about this. I haven't brought it up. I'm not interested in conflict. I'm not interested in foisting ideas, and I don't even know that I have any of my own ideas really about what's going on. But I am paying attention, and I've had several dreams about President Trump. I've had several sessions that involve President Trump, and they're all very, very interesting. In every case, it's about time, and it's about shaking things up and system busting. And if you look at it, even from the very polar opposite perspectives, right, of the very liberal side of things here in America, where people are vilifying our president, coming in and being that villain is a shakeup of timeline. And even on the very right-hand side of the perspective of people who are great supporters and he can do no wrong, they think of him as the person who's doing this shakeup and changing things and bringing change to our system. So it doesn't matter which perspective, or even if you're in the middle, more like I am, or I think I am, I try to go, well, what are these people saying? What are these people saying? And then what's happening in sessions? So I'm really looking at that. But here's the really interesting thing that's going on in my own dream world. And this whole comb is falling out, so I'm just going to take it off. My goodness. Okay, there. We've got a little bit of down hair there. If it's going to fall out, it's going to fall out. I'm dreaming about having conversations with our president in this way. He's talking to me as an aspect of himself who's come from the future back into this time frame. And I've probably had 3 or 4 dreams about that. And the really interesting, and I'm like interviewing him, I'm talking to him, I'm like, well, how'd you do this? What's going on? And I'm only bringing some of this back. I'm bringing more of a sense of what's going on. But last night's dream was really, really interesting. So once again, I'm in this place and there's a lot of people around and there's like a interview positions and this man comes and sits down, and this man is very tall and he's got dark hair and he's young. He's about the same age as my own son. So, late 20s, early 30s, there's this dark-haired, blue-eyed man, and he sits down and I'm looking at him, and here's the really wild thing. It doesn't matter that he looks like this. When he sits down, I'm looking at him, and his energy signature tells me through my dream that who I'm really talking to here is President Trump. And I'm like, what? I'm trying to understand what's going on here. And the conversation that comes back is that in the future, this particular guy, and I don't have a name, and I don't have a position, and I don't have anything like that, but he is connecting to the person who in our time frame right now is known as Donald Trump, and informing him and assisting him in some way as it has to do with the timeline that we're on right now. And I'm trying to ask whatever questions I can come up with about what that even means and why I'm there talking to him about it. And I'm only partially able to conduct this interview because so many other people are coming and they're in the room and they are joining us. And he basically says this will all become very clear and that he understands that it can be confusing, etc. And he stands up and he says, now it's time to go now. And we're standing up, and what I realize is I'm on either, I can't tell, I think it's either roller skates or a skateboard. I'm on something with wheels, and I'm ready to go. And he's looking down at this road, and we're looking down at the road together, and he says, well, here's the new road. Here's the new road. And the road was brand new. Things had just been cleared. There was a new layer of what, asphalt. When asphalt roads are built, there's the first layer that's quite rough and it's very oily and it has a lot of debris and rocks and stuff, and it's not quite smooth yet. It hasn't been completely, the way that it has been created isn't yet paved, right? It's the first steps of the creation of the new road. And there was clamoring behind me, and a lot of people, they were very, very excited. I had people behind me that I knew. I was carrying some things. I was carrying some things for my husband, who had some recent medical procedures done, and I was carrying like a leg brace for him, and I was trying to make sure that I was keeping all of the things for the people that were coming with me. I was keeping information, I was keeping a notebook, I was trying to keep my things. So I found that to be fascinating, and that dream has stayed with me the whole way driving to this appointment this morning. So I thought I would share that. My sense is that this is the beginning of why many of us have come to live in this time frame and in this time period. And I want to make very, very clear for those who are still with me on this video or watching in the future, I'm such a non-political person. The last time that I voted in a United States election, my children were in elementary school and in early elementary school. I mean, this was a long, long time ago. Long time ago. And I became so disillusioned with the political system that I removed myself from it. And I don't watch the news. I haven't been watching the news. I have tried to watch some of it lately. Why? Because I think that what is happening in America right now, in politics, in the collapse, in the complete destruction of what's going on in our political system, no matter where you are on the realm of looking at this, is part of what's going on as far as the timeline that we're stepping into and what's going on. So I'm still not a political person. I still am not partisan in any kind of way. I'm an independent thinker on all aspects, and yet I am fascinated with some of what I'm seeing here and some of what's playing out. I believe that we're going to have some pretty significant chaos across the world. I think that the chaos could have been horrid. It could have been, and on other timelines, could have been quite destructive and quite monumentally tragic for a lot of us, a lot of the world. And I think some of this has been mitigated. I think that we are still going to see upheavals, and we're going to still see some very difficult times ahead of us. Here's who's going to have the most difficult time, I think. The people who are just waking up. And many of you who are watching this video, you're already considering yourself awake, and you're already considering some of what I'm saying here and other things. You're considering it, this is old stuff to you, right? This is old stuff. And some of what is going on in our news system, our news media cycles right now, people are leaving it in droves. You and I, those who typically tend to watch these kinds of things, long ago we've gone, hey, I can see through all of that, and I don't want, and we consider ourselves awake. And yet, we're still the minority, everyone. We are still the minority. Some of this stuff's kind of old hat to us, but it doesn't even matter if the other day I made a video, if you're a healer or not. It doesn't matter if you're a healer or not. If you are awake right now, you are going to be here during this chaos, and there's going to be people around you who are just waking up to this chaos, and it's going to completely unground them. They're not going to know what to think about anything. They're going to possibly feel really kind of unsafe, right? Unsafe about regular everyday things. What's going on with my job? What's going on with my family? How do I navigate this place? And some of us in this community are going to need to make some decisions too, as other things sometimes fall apart. Heck, even YouTube might collapse. Facebook might collapse. Some of the things that we're used to as platforms that talk to each other and communicate with each other, they might collapse as well. But the thing that I would like to have you all keep in mind as some of this is happening around us is, and this now goes to some belief, and it is supported by many sessions that I've had over the years, and in 11 years of doing this quantum healing work, is your soul has put you here at this time. There's this incredible, is it the Chinese proverb, may you live in interesting times, that has come into my awareness a lot these days. May you live in interesting times. Well, we are absolutely living in interesting times. That's actually giving me shivers. If you can just keep your head and keep your centeredness during all of what may be going on in these times, whether the upheaval is big and catastrophic near you, or just family stuff or health stuff or stuff in your own body. If you can kind of breathe, keep your centeredness, and remember that you are so much more than this physical body. You are so much more than this one particular life and one character that you are living out right now. And if you remember that you are infinite and you are divine, the energy that animates this thing, this suit that we're in right now is infinite and it is divine. And it chose to experience some of this. And, that'll help carry you through. Remember that from my perspective as a quantum healer, to even be here right now, to listen to this message and to have the gift of your life right now, you pretty much had to win a lottery ticket. Kind of like in Willy Wonka, that whole thing, right? I mean, you had to win a lottery ticket to even be here during this time. Whether you're old, whether you're young, whether you're physically strong, whether you're just, on your way out at the end of your life or just beginning, wherever you are right now, you've won a lottery ticket to be here, to observe, to hold positive energy, to dream the new road and the new future into existence. Your thoughts matter. Your actions matter, whether you think they do or not. Even in the smallest ways, whether or not your interactions are with large numbers of people on a public platform, or whether they're small at the water cooler in your 3D office, your thoughts, your words, your actions matter. Your daydreams matter. Our ability to manifest things in our future has never been stronger. It's okay to not always be 100% positive, shall we say, in your thoughts, because you're human. Allow yourself to be sad. Allow yourself to be angry. Allow yourself to feel pain. Examine it. It's what are you really focusing on? What are you practicing in your neural pathways to help you manifest this next place where we're going? We're all going together in this particular timeline, which, some say, and it seems that it's collapsing into one big, Magenta Pixie might call it a node point, right? And then you can all go off into other aspects like that. But what you do matters, whether it's sitting on the sofa, sitting under a tree, or getting on YouTube and talking to a lot of people, whether it's being a teacher, whether it's just holding somebody's hand and being a calming influence and focusing on the love in your heart for all of us. What you do is important. What you think is important. Your daydreams are important. If you don't like what you're seeing out there, or if you'd like to see something else happen out there that's more positive, more more loving, daydream about that. Give yourself the gift of daydreaming about that, because that draws that to you, right? Rather than ruminating and giving so much energy to the things that you don't like. Give that a try. Well, I'm kind of out of time today, but I want to thank those of you who've catching me here live. Today's the day before the American Thanksgiving this year. And it's a great time for Americans, but really all of us, to remember to be grateful for the smallest things even in your life. You know, if you can get up and put your shoes on in the morning, be grateful for that. If if you've got heat in your home and food in your fridge, be grateful for that. Be grateful for the things that you do have. Daydream about the things that you would like to see better and improved. And I want to make sure that I say, somebody is saying something about Donald Trump in they go by so quickly, the chat, that I can't read them. Be great. I'm grateful for you out there. Those of you in the quantumhealers.com community, I'm so grateful for you, keeping our support forum and our directory going after all of these years, even after Dolores's death and we moved on to become independent. I'm so grateful for you. I'm grateful for those of you who are participating in the changing of this world, who know that the human soul, the human spirit, human consciousness is part of the engine that helps change the entire world. I'm grateful for those of you who focus on the love that we are, share the love that we are, and in the smallest ways, when you can build on that love, that helps everybody. You don't have to do giant things, create giant projects to be part of the wave of love moving through our planet right now. So for those of you who are focusing on love, that's my greatest thanks goes to you. All right, everyone, I'll catch you again, maybe after the holiday. Cheers. Bye-bye.